Now, here at Loose Women, we never shy away from important topics like domestic abuse or using our platform to raise awareness, which is why, before rolling out our Facing It Together posters up and down the country today, last week, ahead of the launch, we took the campaign to Parliament to speak to MPs from all parties.
I think the campaign Facing It Together breaks down the taboos in regards to just speaking out, knowing that you're not alone, understanding that there's all different types of domestic abuse, the coercion, the separation from family and friends, and just saying that there's a pathway out and that you're not the only one. So having a campaign like this, especially in Parliament, means that we can break down those barriers.
The Loose Women campaign is incredibly important. We know that far too many women suffer in silence, aren't aware of the support that's available, and it's also really important that family and friends who spot where there might be problems are able to provide that support and make sure that people are guided to organisations that are there to help.
1 in 3 women are likely to be victims of domestic abuse, and we really need everybody to be aware of the signs, but also what you can do to support someone who's going through that. It's really vital.
This is exactly what victims of domestic abuse need. They need to be supported in the right ways, the right information through these more informal networks. Those are the first ports of call.
The reality is that many people have an idea of who might be a victim of domestic abuse, but I think the really important message from this campaign is that it could be anybody. And it's really important that all of us are educated to spot the signs and to make sure that these posters can go up in our communities, in our libraries, in our businesses, in our local pubs, to make sure that if somebody does spot the signs, they can access support when they need it.
So how did you get involved then?
So I've been campaigning a lot on reforming the law on domestic abuse. It's something that myself and my family experience, and it all too often happens in the shadows. That needs to stop. Domestic abuse needs to end, but we need to shine a light on it so that victims and survivors know that they're not alone and know where the support is.
We're here at the Facing It Together campaign in Portcullis House, which is where all the MPs have their offices, and it's been incredible. We've had so much interest from various MPs all over the country.
Yeah, it's been such an important day. I mean, we've had charities like Respect, and they've all come for the one purpose, changing things, making things better. So we're just thrilled, so thrilled. So many people that have turned up today.
Did you know, I didn't know this, you get less of a sentence if you kill within the home than if you kill outside the home. What is the difference? I don't get it.
Exactly. And that's why we're here, to make a change.
Whether you're a
Survivor
or a friend,
We are facing it
Together.
An amazing turnout, and we couldn't have done all of that without the support of our guest today, Liberal Democrat MP for Eastbourne, Josh Babarinde, OBE. Welcome,
Thank
Josh.
you. Lovely to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. I know this campaign, like we say, you've been backing us, and you've been backing us. This is just an incredible campaign that you feel very passionate about.
Absolutely. We've got to do more to make sure that up and down this country, people know what the signs of domestic abuse are. It all too often happens in the shadows, and that benefits those abusers. It means they carry on doing what they're doing. We've got to say enough is enough, and that's why I'm really proud to stand with you as you take the Facing It Together campaign to new heights.
Thank you. And sadly, Josh, you're speaking from a point of view that you have lived through, you know, when you were much younger, but you had a very difficult time with an abusive person within the home. And because you were younger, it's from a slightly different perspective, but we have to think of our children in all of these different situations right now as well. I'm sure that has given you the courage, I guess, and indeed the strength to really fight for changes now in the law, considering your role as an MP.
100%. I mean, home wasn't always safe when I was younger. And for years, I swore I would never speak about it, because for so many survivors, it's a source of shame, and there's a taboo around domestic abuse, which is why it's so important that we talk about it, we shed light on it, and that we raise awareness. But I found myself in a position in Parliament where I could do something about it. And last year I was really shocked. We had the government release lots of people from prison early because the prisons got full. But they said, don't worry, we're not going to let domestic abusers out early. But they were. And the problem was that many domestic abusers, if they are even convicted of a crime, and we know that so many, most aren't, they're convicted often of things like assault or actual bodily harm. But these are things that are really broad offences, you know, two strangers having a brawl in a pub.
Somebody could commit an assault, but then never do it again. But with domestic violence, they always will.
Often a repeated campaign of events. And so lots of people released early for assault, ABH, all that kind of stuff. Those abusers were back out early, and their survivors, the victims of their abuse, did not know about it. I thought that was wrong. And the government said, well, there isn't a specific offence of domestic abuse in the law, so we can't tell who is or who isn't an abuser. And in my view, if you make a commitment to victims and survivors that you're going to keep them safe, if you make a commitment that you're not going to release them early, you better damn well keep that commitment. Yeah. And so as soon as it became clear to me the government was failing on that, I stood up and campaigned to try to get a specific category of domestic abuse offence in the law.
Amazing, amazing. Also, can I just say, Josh, obviously your horrendous time as a child was by someone presumably a grown-up, but what we haven't really discussed today is the domestic abuse within the home, that 1 in 4 women are victims of this or survivors of this, but it's 1 in 7 men now, right? This is an increase, and you just said your shame as a child, but these men who are abused within the home suffer from incredible embarrassment. And we need to let people know that although this is a female-led campaign or a female-led show, that there is absolutely help out there for men living with this within the home. There's a charity, I believe, specifically called Mankind that you've worked with. That's right, Denise. I mean, domestic abuse could affect anybody. No one is immune from it. And we know that, 1 in 7 men are victims or survivors of domestic abuse. That's why I've been really keen to work with them in drawing up these plans to try to create this specific offence of domestic abuse. And Mankind, the charity, they're awesome. They offer so many kinds of support services. Survivors UK is another really good charity that support male survivors and non-binary survivors too. Really, really important to shine a light on their work as well. And we've got to change the law. I spoke to 2 people at an event last year. Both their daughters' abusers, serious abuse charges, had been released on bail. On bail, they both killed those 2 women. We cannot let them out on bail. These people rarely can be rehabilitated. If they say, I'm going to kill you, that becomes their raison d'etre in jail. Doesn't matter how much jail there might be to come, ultimately, that's what they're going to do. And we have to, as you say that you're doing, get the courts to understand that. It's about keeping those victims and survivors safe. And we know that most abusers, if they do go to prison, they're going to come out at some point. But the victims and survivors need to know when that is. They need to know that so they can make the preparations. And that might involve, where they live, that might be where the kids go to school, all that kind of stuff. And so after all this pushing, working with Mankind, with Refuge, with Women's Aid, so many charities, we finally got the government to move on this. And just last week, they included in a bill a specific provision that will create a new category so that when someone is sentenced for ABH, assault, whatever it might be, the judge or the magistrate says, right, is this domestic abuse or isn't it? And if it is, that category can be used to exclude them from an early release scheme or whatever it might be. So we've gone from a position where the government did not know how many domestic abusers there were in prison or what their reoffending rate is, to, thanks to all this campaigning, a position where we will now know and we can keep many, many thousands of victims and survivors safe for many years.
Josh, I want to say to you, earlier on, obviously, we were speaking about the signs that some of the signs to look out for. It's really inspiring to listen to you as a young man speaking about your experiences, because we do know that men find it harder to open up. But those are the signs for people to look for. How has it changed and impacted you for yourself, for your personality, should I say? Yeah, there are all sorts of impacts. I mean, I was quite shy when I was younger.
some people would be surprised that I'd be sat, you know, here right now, speaking up as I am. But there was definitely a kind of looking into myself and feeling quite lonely, being very independent. I'm still the kind of guy who will go out and be quite independent. You know, struggle sometimes to ask for help when I need it, but I'm surrounded by great people. My family are here, my mum's here, my partner's here, who hold me to account on that and provide that help. But I think there was a point earlier where you were having a bit of a discussion about kind of jumping a bit or getting a bit shocked and things like that. And that's definitely something that I've experienced as well. And it's taken a long time to kind of build up trust and to make sure that I feel safe in lots of different situations. And there's no shame in talking about those things. It can be really difficult. And for people who are still in a very live domestic abuse situation, it really often isn't safe. But, you know, anyone at home or in the office or wherever you are, if you're watching, you spot those signs and you find yourself in a position where you've got some safe time with that person who you're a bit concerned about, gently ask them, how are you doing? Are you OK? Is there any help that you need? And even if they don't bite your hand off then, they will know that you have seen them. They will know that they're not alone. And when they are ready, they'll know that you're there. So please watch out for the signs and watch out for your amazing posters that are across the country.
Very well said, Josh. Just as a response to, we were talking about the changes in the law and you trying to specify this specific domestic abuse case. It's the government spokesperson has got in touch with us to say we've set out an ambitious mission to halve violence against women and girls within a decade. We will deliver a cross-government violence against women and girls strategy, which will set out concrete action to pursue perpetrators, support victims and prevent these crimes from happening in the first place. This financial year, the Home Office has invested £19.9 million to provide vital support to victims of violence against women and girls. It just seems to feel like that sounds great, but actually then on the ground you kind of go, but where is it? And I think that's what we need to do. And this is why, again, these conversations are happening. We do need to face it together. We kind of have to almost unite as a nation against it.
And let the government know that we're not going to stop.
Exactly. And I know that you're going to constantly do that on our behalf.
Absolutely. The government needs to know we're not going to stop. You know, I've spoken to every minister going to try to make some movement on this. There are so many people. We've got to be knocking on all those doors to make sure that victims and survivors know that they're not alone, that we've got their back, and we will not fight until we eradicate this ill from our society.
Josh, thank you very, very much. Josh Babarinde, MP, OBE, thank you very much for your support. Thank you so much,
Thanks for having
Josh.
me. I'm a massive fan as well. So
Thank you.
Thank you for having me here.